I know this is a delayed video, but as someone who regularly gets accused of like nuking companies, I feel like I can make this video whenever I feel like it.
That's it. That's my intro.
Hi, I'm Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about, do reviewers kill companies? Or, you know, no, that's basically it. That's really it. Do we do that? Also, if you can't tell, I'm still sick. It got worse. I will sound like this the entire time. But yes, today we were talking about a couple of things. And I talked about this very briefly on Twitch when Marques originally put out his response video. Marques Brownlee, MKBHD, for those of you who don't know, is a tech review channel specifically, but he does also car reviews and a bunch of other review products and things like that. And I would say he is probably the largest, most successful, specific to tech review channel that there is. I like his reviews a lot. If I'm thinking about buying a piece of tech, I probably go check out a Marques video, frankly. But lately, he has done quite a few videos on various products and cars that are fairly popular in the tech bro sector, and they are not happy with him. I've just seen some truly horrific takes, okay, in relation to Marques, and I wanted to talk about it because as someone who is also, we can actually physically track when I made a video to how long it took a company to go under, okay? We can do that. Okay, with my channel, which is very funny. Now, do I think that I am, you know, death destroyer of companies? No. Yes. It'd be really fun if I was, but I'm not. I have been accused of being a professional consumer, which I do think is fairly funny. But I mean, in that regards, I would rather me be a professional consumer and help make, you know, the general public, you guys, my viewers, make better consumer decisions when we are dealing with, you know, things like financial crises and things like that, than just like you get swayed up by like sexy marketing, you know, or an influencer talking about a product that, you know, you like the influencer, so you equate you liking them with you liking that product because, oh my God, I must trust that because I trust them. You know, I would rather me get called a professional consumer and just like spend my money, lose money, get scammed out of money for a product or something like that for a video, then have the vast majority of people, you know, keep buying something that I think is a bad product. And so I'm fine with that claim being attached to me. But there's been quite a few things that I get called out for, or like, it's almost like, I shouldn't say called out. Called out makes it sound like it's a bad thing, like it's said in like a bad frame. People call it out to me because they're like, oh my God, look, she did it again. Like, it's almost like it's funny when I call out bad products and things like that, or even products that I like or talk about things like that. And there have been instances where I've talked about a company and they've responded to me, or they've blocked me, or in some instances, like the founder messages me through someone and they're like, oh my God, wait, I really like this video. Like, I get things like that too. Let's go through the lore of Swell Entertainment just a little touch. For those of you that are fairly new, that may not know, because you mainly know me as like an event review YouTuber or a commentary person. I don't do product reviews all that much anymore. I still am very passionate about product reviews. There's just nothing that really gets me fired up quite lately. There's still things that I have on the docket that I want to cover and things like that, but nothing too crazy. Or there's things that I do that are like shorts or TikToks because I just don't think it's worth like a full video for whatever reason. Whether it'll be a very short video or it's just okay, it just exists. It's not good or bad. It's just meh. One of my very first big videos, for those who don't know, in 2020, I've celebrated 10 years on YouTube this year, but in 2020, I had a couple of very big videos that launched my channel. And one of them being a video on Quibi. For those of you who don't know, I was the first YouTuber to make a video on Quibi. I do not have the biggest video, and I am not the only YouTuber to make a video on Quibi, but I was the first. How was I the first? I am never offline, okay? And during lockdown, all this stuff while I was working, I'd been seeing all these ads for Quibi and I was like, what is Quibi? And I found out they were doing an early access thing where you could get like 7 days early access to the site with like a limited number of their shows. And so I did that. And so when I think the day before or the day it went live for the general population of the country, my video was already out. Now, because of that, and because I've then made several other videos on Quibi, when Quibi shut down, I had a couple of people that were like, oh my God, Swell Entertainment killed Quibi. Logically, no. Quibi was a nightmare. Quibi was never going to do well. Even without a lockdown and a pandemic, there was no feasible chance in hell that a residual avoidant business model was ever going to work. We see it with every other streamer, so it's like, oh, maybe it could have worked, but no, okay? Like there was a lot of things there that was just never gonna work. Quick Bites, make a YouTube channel, okay? The whole thing was never gonna work. Quibi shut down. I don't remember exactly if I said I'd give it a year or not. I said I don't think this is gonna work, I think. But that was like the start of it, okay? Which is a very big example of like me predicting something like that, because I don't think I actively cause anything. I think I make my own critical analysis, looking at a company, looking at a product and being like, hey, this seems like X, Y, and Z are weird. And then I put that in a video and I put the video out, and then the dominoes fall as they may. I don't think I actively cause anything. I may actively cause you, one person watching this, as an individual to make a choice to buy something or not to buy something. But that is also my right as someone who is paying for a thing, and also your right as someone who is watching me who is thinking about paying for a thing. You can make the decision not to buy something. Anyways, let's go through my product review playlist and see what companies are still functioning. Sugar Bear Hair, I'm assuming is still a thing. Flat Tummy Tea, unfortunately, I think is still a thing. The Always Pod, I think, is something that I point to a lot when people get mad at me for like a negative review. Like, you never talk about things that you like, because the amount of you guys that reached out to me after I did my Always Pan and Forever Pot reviews and said, thank you so much for your video. I know you don't like it or you have all your reservations with it, but you answered all the questions I needed to have asked. I'm still going to go and buy it because everything that you brought up is what I needed to know. Thank you. And so that, again, a negative review is still informative. A negative review can still inform a potential buyer because, like, hey, the things you were worried about, I don't really care about those things. I like this because of X. Oh, we finally got to Wattcon. I think the only thing you can really truly point to for what I nuked is Wattcon. Fully go check out I Have Questions After Wattcon. That's a event for Wattpad, okay? This is 2022. And as far as I can tell, they did not do another one after that. I did my video in November of 2022, okay? And what happens at Wattcon is that it's also the Watties. So the Watties are the Wattpad's like literal award ceremonies where they gift like best fan fiction, best things like this, best novella, best things like that, okay? Which I thought was a very cool addition to the event. I talked about it. But the convention itself was very weird and it put a really bad taste in my mouth, okay? Because it was weird that I was not a writer on Wattpad and that I had attended the event. Not that anyone made it weird, but it was very clear this is for writers. And the fact that they just sold like a $45 ticket that I was able to buy was a weird thing. To the point that like employees at the event were like, oh, what's your screen name? Like, I'm sure I know your name. I'm like, you don't. I'm just a reader on the thing, which I hadn't even been reading Wattpad at the time, really. And I left the event with a really bad taste in my mouth because I thought it was very weird. Spoiler alert, they had a whole event about people whose whole job it was to write, people who had sold their books, people who were having their books made into movies, and yet no one would talk concrete about money or percentages. And that made me very uncomfortable because you have all of these writers that are spending all this time making books, writing art, and yet no one is talking about the money situation and how they're being compensated. And like, there was a lot of red flags. Go ahead and watch my video. But I had a lot of questions in that video. Someone from Wattpad did reach out to me afterwards. And as always, if someone asks me, oh, what are you doing here? I'm a YouTuber. I'm reviewing the event.
Unless I feel there's a credible threat to my safety, then I'm lying through my teeth.
I shared that with Wattpad staff while I was there. I shared that with the writers that I spoke to while I was there. And I talked about like, this is a very expensive event for like next to no money. There's something weird going on here, basically. And what got me there, I should note as well, the reason I never replied to this particular email is because of where I was at the time in my life. Lisa was in hospice at the time. My patience for bullshit was zero, okay? And so when someone from Wattpad emailed me and said, hi, if you have any questions about Wattcon or Wattpad, feel free to reach out to us. Instead of answering any of the questions in my video, that pissed me off. And so rather than say something that would probably cause a problem, I just didn't reply to that email. And I do think in hindsight, that was the right decision, was to not reply to that, because I don't think I would have said anything productive. But what happened after that video, and I'm still glad I made this video, even if it was fairly damning to the point that they don't do Wattcon anymore, is that I received tens of emails from various writers, either that were there or who weren't there, talking about their contracts with Wattpad and how awful they were and how predatory they were. And everyone was like, I'm terrified. I can't put my name out because there's like basically an NDA in here or there's X, Y, and Z. But like, I would not sign this again. If I was like, I wouldn't do this again. I tell people not to do this because it was the terms are insane. And frankly, the platform now, it's slowly nuking itself. Wattpad itself is currently like inoperable. Okay. Like you can barely use it. In that instance, it's all like behind a paywall. Everything is paywalled, considering it was like originally like one of the easiest ways for people to share books that was free and like great way for people to read for free. And I'm not even just talking about fan fiction. I'm talking about original fiction that was on there because that's what I read for the most part when I was, doing Wattpad. I read so much original fiction. I read a lot of fan fiction on there as well, but they had a ton of original fiction on there. I remember thinking like, oh, maybe I'll try and go to Wattcon again and see if they took any notes. Interested in attending Wattcon 2023. Hey Wattpadders, thank you so much for attending Wattcon 2022. We hope you had an amazing day filled with connection, fun, inspiration, and learning. In case you haven't heard, with the release of our newest app, Yonder, I had a lot of issues with Yonder. We're running our first Yonder Wattpad sweepstakes with a grand prize of a 3-night all expenses paid trip for 2 to Wattcon 2023. Find out how to participate by visiting here. You've reached the end. Last updated November 22nd, 2022. And then nothing. There was nothing for Wattcon 2023. I do think I killed Wattcon. That I'll take responsibility for. I think you guys were like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have a public event where like randos that like ask questions should come to. Okay, let's go through more because there was another one. This was a more recent one. The one that you guys may be able to get me, going undercover in Curtistown. So for those who don't know, I did a video on Curtis Connor World, okay, which was part of a bigger app thing, a bigger Web3 thing called the Worlds app or worlds.com or whatever. And again, I think I just saw the writing on the wall. I did Curtis Connor World, Curtistown, because I knew that no other commentary YouTubers probably would because everyone is friends with Curtis. I don't dislike Curtis, but we've met, but we're not like friends. Fair. You seem cool, Curtis. It's fine. I was like, someone's got to do it, and I'm cool with people being mad at me, so I'll do it. Okay? That's why I did it. And I thought it was ridiculous because I thought it was weird he wasn't promoting it. And the whole point with that as well is that the app functionality was just kind of weird. And what it was is he probably was like involved in something super early and was like, yeah, this is cool. And then it came to what it was, and they were just like, this is cool, but like, I already got paid or whatever. I don't know. And like, let it go be. Even in that video, though, I think it's very clear why they shut down the app, because not even like a month or two after my video, I got an email that Curtis Connor World was shutting down, as did the rest of the other world that I had jumped into for the video, saying that they were going to be shutting it down, the entire app. And I believe at this time the app is completely shut down and you cannot get into like Curtis Connor World or any of that. And I think that that's very clear as to why, because that whole thing was like a Web3 thing. And yet in the video, every time I'm in there, Curtistown, that's the only one that ever had other people in it. I was in the other people's pages. There was usually never people in there, very infrequently. So I think that that's very clear of, oh yes, Swell was the only person actively using this site, and it was for a video. That's why they shut it down, was low traffic. And also, this is expensive. I think that's all it was. So it's, again, I saw the writing on the wall, and then that's what played out. It was going to shut down with or without me. If anything, more people probably signed up after my video because I think I talked about it more than Curtis did. But I'll take responsibility for that one. I'll do that. Let's go to MKBHD. The one that got some people fired up was his review on his car review channel of the Fisker Ocean. Fisker is a, electric car company. And it's funny, I had watched another video from like a tech documentary style channel talking about how the Fisker is like still not profitable and how they're still having trouble. And so I was like, oh, this is a matter of time too. And then you've got the Fisker Ocean video, and like the people involved at Fisker were like so angry and all this stuff about that one, which I thought was funny because like that whole meltdown was weird, but like it wasn't to the level of all of this. What got people upset was the worst product I've ever reviewed, for now. And I do think they added the for now for protection, and I don't think you should have to. I think the for now is stupid. You are allowed to dislike a product. I know what I've reviewed. If I review something incredibly stupid, I will say the stupidest product I've ever reviewed because it's my lived experience as a reviewer. The way that this is lived experience for Marques. The other thing he's reviewed, the Rabbit R1. I am still on my wait list for that. I ordered that. They have my money. I never got it. If you think he was mean, wait till I get my hands on that thing. Watch me get a refund notice after this video. That'd be really, really funny. But I'm nobody to them, so it is what it is. But he talked about the Humane Pin. And the Humane Pin at launch, before Marques ever even got his hands on this thing, everyone said it was incredibly stupid. Everyone said it was incredibly bad. Another YouTuber even made a video on it. Incredible new device that doesn't do anything right. From 3 months ago. So even before the month ago video from Marques. But even Danny was talking about how, like, in their promotional videos from the company itself, it wasn't working the way it was supposed to. And everyone had been talking about this for a long time. But now, because Marques got it in his hand, now he's the one under fire for this. Tech Twitter tried to rip him apart in the dumbest way possible. He did a video titled, Do Bad Reviews Kill Companies? Alex Finn, who is a blue check mark, which I have one too, but I have it so I don't get hacked. I think you have it because you like to rage bait, which this might be. MKBHD bankrupted a company in 41 seconds. I mean, technically, is it still libel if you put it in a tweet, or is it just slander? A slight criticism from a big YouTuber, let alone calling the product horrendous, is enough to make a company go bust. Creators are so much more powerful in 2024 than you think. This clip will be a gravestone for Humane. Daniel Vassallo. This is the one that got me real fired up. I find it distasteful, almost unethical, to say this when you have 18 million subscribers. Hard to explain why, but with great reach comes great responsibility. Potentially killing someone else's nascent project reeks of carelessness. First, do no harm. One, he is not a doctor. That's not the YouTube doctrine that we all have to follow. That's just not what that is. That's just actively being obtuse. Also, nascent project, especially of a process or organization just coming into existence and beginning to display signs of future potential. Where you could use this term is the initial launch video that they put out. The one that Drew is talking about. Fuck, Danny. The video that Danny is talking about, okay, that he did his video on, that is the one you can talk about. That's the one you can call a nascent project because it's just coming to form. It hasn't hit the market yet. It's just being developed. Test versions are being sent out. That is what you can call a nascent product. The moment you start charging money for something, we have talked about this extensively on this channel. You have a responsibility of the project. And this is the project problem that I have with a lot of like the current iteration of like Web3, AI, tech companies and all this stuff, is that everyone tries to sell me on the current iteration by telling me what it can do down the line. That is fundamentally stupid. I disagree. No. Why should I pay you today? What can it do right now? And what can it do well? That is what I want to know. Not what can it do down the line? Because that's stupid. That's a pipe dream. Because then what if what it does down the line is not at all what you can actively physically achieve because you couldn't achieve that at launch? We call it out all the time in the beauty industry when someone says, hey, here's our drop of shades. Sorry, there's one dark shade and it's not even the color of an iced latte. This is just launch. We'll come up with darker shades later. No, we don't tolerate that anymore. A shade range of foundations is not the same thing as a AI tech pin, okay? But the point still stands. What is at launch should be what you are comfortable with, and that's what people are going to criticize. If you think that your product is good enough for launch, then don't try and convince me that I should be happy with it being good enough for launch with what it's going to do down the line. Convince me with what you have right now. Here's what it can do today. I don't care that it can do that today. Okay, then this might not be the product for you. Or, you know, that's totally understandable. You know, here's how you get a refund. You know, not, hey, you should be excited about this new product that you just spent $700 on, because that's stupid. It just is. We talk about this with Cybertrucks, okay? With like every time I'm on Twitter, there's another tech bro who's like, here's how my Cybertruck almost killed me. Thankful to Elon Musk though. These tech bros, I'm telling you, if Elon Musk announced that he was looking to adopt a grown man, these guys would kill their parents. I'm not even kidding. It is such an impressive, like, one-sided Stockholm Syndrome brain rot that is just so truly fascinating that I really hope is someone is documenting it really well right now, and that like I can't wait to read someone's dissertation about this in like literally 5 to 10 years, because I really think like it's fascinating to see in real time, and I just think we'll see like the real ramifications of it down the line, or until a Cybertruck literally kills a toddler or cuts off a dude's finger. There was that too. That was really weird. And then he made another video recently, the Rabbit R1, barely reviewable as well, and talked about that from 2 weeks ago. This fired everything up again, got people really worked up again. Whether he got the product sent to him, he requested the product, or he paid for the product, you then get the review that you're going to get. I just assume more people are invested in these products than they like to believe. And so it's like, oh, you don't like that one individual has the ability to like nuke a complete project. Put out a better product. You are not entitled to money. I talked about this very briefly on TikTok in relation to a ridiculous note that I saw from a author who was currently working on a book who made a video saying that if you review a book for less than 3 stars on Goodreads, like less than 3 or less than 4 stars or something like that out of 5 or 6, okay, you are an asshole because writing a book is hard. That is also an insane statement, okay? Lots of things in life are hard, okay? We see this every day. Getting up and doing your life can be hard for a lot of people, but people still go and do it. Just because you did a hard thing does not mean I am entitled to like the thing. There's a variety of reasons as to why I may not like a book. Sometimes a name annoys me, you know, when it's a book. That's what you are entitled to as a reader. You are entitled to dislike something. If I go and watch a movie, my friends may love it. My friends hated Challengers. I loved it. Does that mean that they are fundamentally wrong? No. You may disagree with that, or you may be like, you're right, that movie wasn't good, but I liked it. My friends are like, I can see why you like that movie because it's a sports movie and you like sports. I'm like, I think it's more than that, but whatever, okay? They are entitled to dislike it for whatever reason. Same way that I am entitled to dislike this phone or this water bottle, and you are entitled to like it. Someone worked hard on this thing, so therefore we can't criticize it, is an insane thing. Again, there's freedom of speech, there's freedom of consumerism, there's freedom of all of this stuff. And it just gets me so worked up. I'm still annoyed that Mark has had to do his Do Reviews Kill Companies video because I don't think he should have had to. I'm glad he did because it gives me something else to talk about, which is always fun and exciting. He makes very good points in his video. I just think that like the people he is arguing with are arguing in bad faith. And you can't convince a toddler why they should have to eat their green beans if they don't care if they grow big and strong because they can't think that far ahead. That's my position, frankly. So I don't know, maybe these tech bros will be mad at me now. I don't think so. I think you guys are afraid of women. Now I'm just like poking a bear, and I'd still choose the bear. Go check out Marques. I like his videos. I think he's, you know, one of the better tech review channels that I've still watched over the years. So I would go check him out. I also really like his car reviews. I think they're fun. Are there any companies you want to see me like destroy? Let me know. Comment down below. A reminder that Swell Entertainment is now available on Spotify. A reminder that I stream on Twitch. A reminder that you can get 10% off on Gamer Subs with code SWELL. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you'd also support me on Patreon, links down below. Like someone on social media. That'll be up here. And that's going to be the half of the day. Goodbye. When you have a product that you are selling, you have a responsibility once you take people's money. And people are also entitled to their opinion with the product that you sold to them.
Thank you, Oz, Eva, Ayana, Abby, Angel, Goth, Glenn, Palace, Pink, Jasmine, Lauren, Amy, Aslan, Medic, Rosie, Victor, Andrew, Tenzin, Sam, Mae West, Michael, Ryan, Adira, Nathan, Zwink, Literal, Jeffrey, Randy, QWERTY, Nomad, Thomas, Tasha, Donnie, Winter, Kenny, Robert, Cameron, Elliott.